alcohol, so finish your whiskey or beer. Closing time, you don't have to go home, but you can't stay here. I know who I want to take me home. I know who I want to take me home. I know who I want to take me home. Take me home. Hey, how you doing? Justin here. Today we are checking out Closing Time by Semisonic. This is an all-time party classic, this one. Great sing-along one. Works great with open chords. So if you're a beginner and you just know your G, D, C and A minor, you can play this in open position. It sounds great. Later, as you progress in the beginner's course and you learn your power chords, you can start playing it with power chords. That also sounds great. And if you're a proper intermediate guitar player, then you can start ripping out your proper full bar chords, which is really cool. And I'm going to show you the little octave thing which goes in the middle of the song, in the kind of the bridge thing. There is a little bit of a weird part where the synths get involved. We don't like it when synths get involved in guitar music because they change key and the chords suddenly go to an A flat, B flat, E flat and C, which is a little bit like, what's going on with this? And most times when I see people play these songs, they tend to leave that bit out. Unless they're in a proper band and playing a cover of it and you've got a synth player or whatever, then you'll get involved with that little section, but otherwise most people tend to leave it out. Okay, let's start off by looking at a beginner's version. Now, I'm kind of feeling it as a half-time feel with the tempo quite fast, okay? So like 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, but we're feeling it in half-time, so just 2 strong beats. So if we just strum twice in the bar, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. That works kind of nice, and as a beginner version you could actually strum that little and still make it sound good, in which case we just need the G chord twice, then to a D, to an A minor, to a C. Closing time, open all the doors and let you out into the world. Okay, nice and easy. And then I know who I want to take me home. G to a D chord, A minor, then to C. G to a D chord and A minor to C. Take me G, D, A minor to C, and it's doing that all the way through. A minor to C chord, then it's G going to D to A minor. That's it. And you can see you can kind of get away with that all of the way through. That's quite beginnery. You definitely want to be looking at exploring the strumming a little bit more than that. So the next step up really is to try and get a little bit more fancy with the strumming, and all we'd be doing is adding in a few more strums. Okay, so the most basic version of doing this would be still thinking 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, but adding in a few up strums. Okay, so the strumming pattern, again, strumming patterns are easiest learnt without the chords. So if you wrap your fingers around the strings, so you're actually not getting any note from any chord to, you know, give you cause for, oh, my chord doesn't sound right, and you just think about the rhythm, being that hopefully you know by now rhythm is the king, and if you stick with the rhythm and the rhythm's really solid, if you fluff the chords up, you can kind of get away with it. You shouldn't, but you can. So the pattern 1, 2, 3, 4 and 1 and 2, 3, 4 and. Okay, let me slow that down a little bit for you. So 1, 2, 3, 4 and 1 and 2, 3, 4 and down, 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 up, down, up, down, 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 up. 1, 2, 3, 4 and 1 and 2, 3, 4 and 1, 2, 3, 4 and 1 and 2, 3, 4 and. Okay, now that's obviously 2 bars. Okay, so there would be 2 different chords on that. So we'd have, say, the G chord and the D chord. So 1, 2, 3, 4 and 1 and 2, 3, 4 and. Okay, that would be how the chords kind of change, although sometimes the D chord really kind of changes a little bit later than that. But if you're a complete beginner, just try and do it that way. It'll probably be a little bit late anyway, and you'll end up playing it perfectly. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4 and 1 and 2, 3, 4 and 1, 2, 3, 4 and 1 and 2, 3, 4 and 1, 2, 3, 4 and 1 and 2, 3, 4 and 1, 2, 3, 4 and 1 and 2, 3, 4 and. And if we start getting it a bit faster, one, 2, 3, 4 and 1 and 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4 and. Now you can hear already with a slightly crunchy sound there playing the open chords, it's starting to sound a little bit kind of wrong, okay, a little bit too gritty and a little bit too messy. And on the original one he's actually using that same rhythm there, but with the power chord. So if you're playing it acoustically or electric guitar with a completely clean sound, you'd be pretty cool on doing that. But actually it's going to sound a lot better doing just your power chords. Now you beginners that are kind of later in the beginner's course, you know your G power chord hopefully, your D power chord, your G power chord and your C power chord, okay? The G is 6th string root at the 3rd fret, D is 5th string root, 5th fret. Then the A power chord, which is the replacement for the A minor, because power chords aren't either major or minor, is 5th fret, 6th string root, and C is 3rd fret, 5th string. So you kind of go on 3rd fret, thickest, 5th fret, 5th string, 5th fret, 6th string, 3rd fret, 5th string. Okay, so it makes for a nice little sequence. You're only really needing the 3rd fret and the 5th fret. You can see now I'm changing a little bit late on the and after 1. So on beat 1 I'm kind of changing chords. 1, 2, 3, 4 and 1 and 2, 3, 4 and 1, 2, 3, 4 and 1 and 2, 3, 4 and 1, 2, 3, 4 and 1 and 2. So I've got that little transition there that's happening on the beat. And it gives it this kind of quite a different feel there, which is quite nice. Especially when we kind of crunch it up a little bit. Also worth noting here as well, something that a lot of people don't think about is how hard you play. You know, just then to get that gain jump, I just turned the volume back up. I wasn't jumping on a pedal or anything. But as well, depending on how hard I play is going to affect it as well. If I play softly, it's the kind of effect that you get on the record for the verses. I'm really just holding the pick very lightly, okay? And as soon as I want to dig in, lightly, heavy. Really is quite dramatically different, and you'll probably find that you have the same effect on your own guitar as well. So it's something to experiment with, just how hard you're holding the pick, okay? So and again, if you're a beginner and just playing your power chords, what you want to be going for at that point is playing it nice and softly in the verses and then heavying it up for the chorus, so you get this differentiation between the verses and the choruses, because it's the same chords all the way through. If you stick with the same sound and the same chords and the same strumming, it's going to get a bit boring for the listener, right? So be aware of that all the time, that you want to make some sort of difference between the verse and the choruses there, okay? So probably doing it with volume, like how hard you hold the pick, how much grit you get out of it is going to help. More advanced players might like to use power chords there for the verses, and when it comes in the chorus, start doing the full bar chords, okay? So if you know full bar chord G, full bar chord D, full bar chord A minor, and full bar chord C. Okay, this is for intermediate level guitar players that are doing my intermediate course. You should be learning those full bar chords. Great song for practicing the major shape with the 6th string root, major shape with the 5th string root, which is the one that everybody struggles with, minor chord with the 5th string root, to the major chord on the 5th string root again. And it's such a common kind of group of chords as well. It's really, really good one to practice this one. So again, it's exactly the same for the strumming if you're trying to get it together and using your bar chord. Softly. Okay, but if you're going to do the proper bar chords one or the power chords one, there's this other strumming pattern that you can use for the choruses that adds in some mutes. Okay, and what the mutes are doing, it's just when you're playing a chord, okay, it's just relaxing your hand. So your hand's still in position for a chord, but you relax all the fingers and you get those muted hits. So the strumming pattern that we've got for that would be 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, and 2, 3, 4, and. Okay, so go from the G, playing 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, and 2, 3, 4, and. Okay, let's just concentrate on these two chords because it's the same on the other two chords afterwards. So with the G chord, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, and 2, 3, 4, and. Chord, chord, mute, 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 chord, chord, mute, mute. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, and 2, 3, 4, and. Okay, same thing with the A minor. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, and 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, and 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, and 2, 3, 4, and. Okay, it's really great for beginners having all of this muted stuff in there because you can use it to transition between your chords. Okay, it's a really big deal because learning to transition like that without lifting your fingers off the strings . Okay, so now I'm just changing from G, and when I feel like it, I've negotiated over to the D, strumming again, muted, to the G, I'm transitioning still to the D. So all I'm just trying to demonstrate to you there that you can keep the strumming going all the time while you're changing those chords. And that's a pretty cool little trick, right? Because it's something that you can use all the time, those little muted things between chords. They can be effective as part of a riff, but it can also get you out of trouble if your chord changes a little late, right? What you don't want is open strings ringing out all the time. That's never a particularly good look for anyone, I don't think. So that's the thing to be working on there once you're into your full bar chords territory, or your power chords as well. It works as well with the power chord, but it's kind of more of an intermediate thing that trying to strum while you've got the muted chord changes going on. But no harm in having a go at it if you're a beginner, right? So, excuse me, the last thing that I wanted to talk you through is the bridge. Okay, so if you're going to do the bridge and you've got the little synth part, you need to be playing, it'll be B flat, which is the 6th fret of the thickest string, to A flat, which is the 4th fret of the thickest string, then to E flat, which is the 6th fret of the 5th string, to C, which is 3rd fret of the 5th string. 5th string root, that is. And that's played 3 times through that little chord sequence. It's mainly a kind of a synth riff, and like I said, oftentimes that gets kind of left out, but the riff that follows it I think is really nice, okay, which is using an octave shape. Now if you're not familiar with octaves, there'll be links on my website to a lesson on how to do octaves. If there isn't, please remind me and I'll make sure I put it there straight away. And the octave riff here is going C note, D, E, G. Okay, so I'm using my first finger on the low C, little finger on the octave above that, which is the 5th fret on the 3rd string. You can see that I can strum all the strings, but only the 2 notes I want are coming out. So the thickest string is muted, then I've got the C, 4th string is muted, then I've got C, thinnest 2 strings are muted. Okay, very, very, very good rock technique, this one. So we play C, D, E, G. Okay, so that's 3rd fret, 5th fret, 7th fret, 10th fret. Then E, which is the 7th fret, F sharp, which is the 9th fret, G, which is 10th fret, and then B, which is all the way up at the 14th fret. And then the chords again, G, C, A minor, first one, C, D, E, G, G, D, A minor, then the next one, E, F sharp, G, B. Okay, now the rhythm of that and trying to get back to the chord is something that I'm going to leave you to work out on your own using your ear, because you can count it, but it's getting back from that 1 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2, back into the chords, then into the octave, and then coming back in late again. Now you can count it, but those things are much better off done by listening. Okay, you've got to get into listening to learn this sort of stuff, because trying to learn the count and figure it all out, it's just too it's a waste of your brain space, man. You just got to listen to it, because listening to it and figuring it out, keeping the hand moving, because remember, if you keep your hand moving, you always keep yourself in time, or as soon as you start flumming around with your hand, you're going to lose the groove, right? So you want to keep that moving all the time. That and just listening to it and playing along will get you there, okay? Now, I should point out as well, that octave thing, definitely intermediate guitar players and above. If you're a beginner, you start having a go at that, you're in danger of putting yourself off by feeling miserable because you can't do it. Okay, there's no harm in having a go. If you're a big fan of Semisonic, you really want to nail this song, it's not going to damage you to have a go at playing the octaves and doing all of that stuff, right? It's not going to hurt. But if you're not getting it right away, or even if you're not getting it after a few months, don't be disappointed with yourself, because it's a lot more difficult than beginner level stuff. And what I'm trying to do these days when I'm doing the lessons is show you some nice beginner stuff and the way that you can build a song right up into an intermediate kind of level playing, because it just keeps it kind of interesting, I think, and it's good stuff to have songs that are growers. So that's kind of the reason I'm showing you this stuff possibly a little bit early if you're freaking out as a beginner. Don't freak out, just keep with the real simple stuff and enjoy playing the song. And just because I haven't mentioned it this lesson yet, it's a really good idea to be playing along with the original recordings. That's where you're going to copy your rhythm. It's really a big deal, is learning to keep your rhythm really solid. And there's definitely one of the coolest things you do is just mute up the neck so that you're not getting any strings, and just and doing that along with the record, really trying to get the feeling of it right, because if you get the rhythm right, if you get the rhythm really rocking, the chords are going to happen by themselves. And if the chords fluff slightly, it doesn't really matter. You should, I'm not trying to promote sloppiness with your chords, right? It's a good idea to get your chords nice and crisp and right, but the rhythm is so much more important. The rhythm is what carries it. So try and focus your energies on that as well. And, even if you're a real complete beginner playing the open chords version, really work on getting that rhythm solid, because if the chords fluff a little bit, no one's going to notice, especially if you're singing, right? But do try and get them right. I'm not trying to give you an excuse ticket, okay? Important. Right? Try and get it right, but keep the rhythm as being the forefront of the thing that you're working on. So hope you have a lot of fun playing this song, and I'm going to see you for plenty more very soon. You take care of yourselves. Bye-bye.